Good evening from InvestSharp. This is Randy Smotone with your Monday, May 10th market update. On the economic front, there was no economic data released today. On deck for tomorrow is the weekly Goldman store sales, Redbook, and the monthly wholesale. Typically, these are not market moving data, so not too much to worry about there probably. Of course, the big news over the weekend was the EU, the European Union, and the IMF, International Monetary Fund, agreed to almost a 1 trillion bailout for the heavily indebted Euro countries that are going to need it. So no money's passed hands there, and of course, I think Germany's kind of dragging their feet as usual. So we'll see how that plays out, but that's a big step in the right direction, I think. And looking at the dollar, uh, the dollar was a little bit lower today, but it's holding on. It pulled back up. It started selling off, pulled back up. So, kind of it's looking all right. Not falling apart. No selling in the dollar, as you notice. These little red things are not much selling. The dollar and gold were down today. Silver, copper, and oil were up. Light sweet crude futures were up $1.69 to settle at $76.80 a barrel. So over to the West Texas Intermediate crude chart. Of course, we have this bearish price objective, which most of these charts are pretty much broken because of what happened at the end of last week. So we won't pay too much attention to that right now until the charts all get reset up, and that's for a lot of charts as far as the stock market goes. So we're right here, pretty bearish still for oil. Let's take a look at the Dow. Dow closed up 404 points to 10,785. The S&P closed up 48 points to 1,159. The Nasdaq closed up 109 points to 2374, and the Russell closed up 36 points to 689. The Russell had the larger percent gain at 5.61%. So small caps are in again. And the Dow had the smallest percent gain, up 3.9%. Volume across the indices was above average, so it was a decent volume day. So looking at the Dow here, you can see we're still, we got some overhead resistance here, probably around this 10,008, whatever it is, 825, 30, whatever it is, somewhere around in here. And of course, then we'll have some more up here closer to the 10,975, 11,000 area. Over to the S&P. This does help me be a little more bullish because we did close above 1150. I was watching this real close today to see if we could close above this 1150 mark. And then, of course, we've got some resistance here, probably around the 1165. And then the next thing I'd worry about would be up here around closer to the 11,080-ish, somewhere in these areas. But this here looks like could be a morning star type reversal where we had this big candle, a little bit smaller candle, and then we had a big candle that's definitely closed deep inside within this candle. So could reverse and we could keep going higher. So I'm not as bearish, but I'm a little more neutral. I'd still like to see a couple of days of action and see how this plays out. Of course, the Nasdaq is still. I'd like to see the Nasdaq get above its 50-day moving average, which currently is 2,412. So we need to take this at this 2425-ish area here out, and then go back up here. But so I'd like to see that would also make me more bullish and think that the big fall is over. Nasdaq didn't have that great of a day. There was a lot of tech stocks seemed like they struggled today. Let's look at gold. Some of them had gains, but not as big as a lot of the financials and home construction did. Gold's still holding up tough here. Does have some overhead resistance around the 1,019.025 to 50 area. So I definitely, any dips down in here, I would probably definitely buy gold. It's looking good. Silver's looking pretty good too. Didn't have a lot of volume today. Actually, I think silver could come back down here again. I don't know. The MACD's not quite as high here. We'll just have to see how silver is, but it's not as strong. And then copper is so sold off, but there was not a lot. It was a huge move, but not a lot of volume behind this big move up here in the copper ETF JJC. And of course the VIX. VIX pretty much neutral, buying and selling here. But 30% of the volatility came out. So, but we're still up here above this where this channel down we were kind of in. We're hanging up here now. Let's look at the XLF. XLF should have some resistance up here around this 16. So we'll see if financials overcome that. And then next would be here. And then, of course, once we can break out above this downtrend line is really key. So we'll be watching that as well. Let's go over and look at the McClellan for the NYSE. So, okay, we were major oversold down in here past the minus 120. We're still minus 64.52, so we're still oversold. So we could definitely have some more uppage. Just depends on the market. Let's go over, look at the sectors. All 16 sectors that follow finished in the green today. Home construction index had the larger percent gain, up 7.88%. The gold index had the smallest percent gain, up 2.06%. Let's go over to chart watch. I have a few ideas. I still think you can dip your toe in, but you just need to be, no big hurry. There's plenty of time. I like it better, like I said, if NASDAQ gets above the 50. But I found a few decent charts out there. I like this general cable. I like this pattern. It's built, put in a nice base down here. It broke out today with really good volume behind it. Of course, it moved almost 10%, so you might be careful here, but it could continue to run. So I really like this. It looks good. If you could get it down here on a dip, it'd be better. But we'll see. It should actually hold this at 31. That's where it broke out from, and it should be new support. But that one's looking good. HWD Harry Winston looks good. Nice triangle breakout with volume. Like that chart. Velasquez Communications. Watch it over today's high. Today's high was 34.31. Good volume. Looks like it might break out, go higher. SUI, the Sun Communities, has been hanging tough, been hanging on this trend line. It's another one, had good volume today, so if it can go higher, might jump on that one. Extra Space Storage, EXR, had a pretty neutral kind of doji day, both kind of neutral buying and selling, but it still has a good chart, held up well through all this. PPS, Post Properties, holding up well, nice trend. IPHS, been in the channel, but it should have about a 2-point move. It's had a lot of volume of late, so it's actually looking pretty good. So if it can take out today's high of about 38.7 with volume, it should get up to probably about 32 or higher. So it's looking pretty good. Compass Materials has a nice big triangles building, so watch for a breakout here, possibly a dip buy or a breakdown. But keep your eye on that one. Intercontinental Exchange still real tough, breaking higher day on ICE. Sherwin-Williams, watch for a breakout over that $80 area with volume, or if you can buy the dip and it holds the trend line, you could get it down here, which would be even better. DirecTV, another breakout today, did pull back though, but just keep it on your radar. Central Fund of Canada had some selling today. It's got resistance up here around this 1530, but I like this. I like how it's building this kind of thing underneath, as long as it can hold the trend line. So you might keep that on there. Medifast, this has been holding its uptrend line really well too. And this is typically, look how it's moved. It's crazy. So you might want to definitely keep Medifast MED on your radar. GLNG, another one that's if it can break out higher above this 1350, that would be a big breakout for it. Lots of volume coming in as late. And again, if it rolls over, you can probably short it here as well. EGO, of course, we've been watching this one. It's still hanging tough. ABX, Barrett Gold's looking good. Been watching this one. AEM still looking good. This little Goldfields, as long as it holds here, but it's not looking too bad. As long as it holds this 1250, it could get back up to about 14 or so. Should have some good support there. Of course, silver we've already looked at, and I got stuff drawn all over it. PAAS. This one, as long as this holds 2450, it looked pretty good, and it looks like it could be setting up for a nice breakout here. So keep that one on there too. FCX, I would consider possibly, depending on the market, you might consider shorting it up in this area or here. I don't know. It just depends on the market. If the market gets weak and rolls over again, I think you could short this one. If copper goes lower, just keep that in mind. ATK, I still think this thing, is wanting to break down. It closed closer to its low than it did its high, so just keep this one on your radar, off the watch list. FMC, watch it over 66. Another one I think actually is topping here. And by the MACD, it looks like you could probably possibly short this one as long as it doesn't break out. Amazon, I think it should have, it's going to have resistance up here. It did not have much buying volume today at all. So Amazon's looking pretty weak as well. Of course, the OIH. Again, if you could get it short up in here, OIH is still not looking good at all. Google, another one that volume wasn't all that great, and it's got some major resistance up in this 525 or so area. So IFSIA, watch for a breakout over 14, and again, it could be at a double top and roll over. The MACD's awful low considering how high it is right here. So you could consider a short. Same way with this AIZ. I don't like the MACD down here, and it's up here near 37, so it may have topped out here. Let's go take a look at the current market signals. Follow the point and figure chart for the Dow, Nasdaq, S&P. Source: the Dow and Nasdaq are still on sales. S&P never did go on a sell, it's still on a buy, and the Russell's on a sell. So no change there. So that is it for today. Thanks for watching InvestSharp's daily market analysis.